What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another special episode of the Mets'd podcast. Trade deadline special. It's came, it's over, it's done, and the Mets got Cedric Mullins. Of course, we also got Ryan Helsley, we got Tyler Rogers, we got Gregory Soto a little bit earlier in the week, but since our last episode, since you last heard from us and saw us, Cedric Mullins, a New York Met. We heard what the White Sox wanted for Luis Robert. It was crazy. We'll talk about everything going on with the Mets trade deadline, as well as David Stern's comments to the media after the deadline had ended. And that's pretty much it for this episode. A bit of a quick one right before we have the Giants playing us tonight on Friday. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Really appreciate the support you guys have been showing. Thank you for that. Keep on subbing. We do appreciate it. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, it's been a wild day. I feel like we were talking to each other for about 5 straight hours going with the trade deadline because we were doing the stream over on my playback in YouTube. Then I went to a soccer game. Then I got a flat tire. Had to fix a flat tire for the first time in my entire life. And now it's 1:30 in the morning and we're recording talk about Cedric Mullins. I feel absolutely delirious. How you feeling?
I feel like I've lived like 2 separate lives and days, like since we stopped that stream. It's funny you've been doing the same thing since then. But I wrote an article. I went for a run. I cleaned. I cooked. I took a shower. I prepped a YouTube video. I feel good right now. I'm feeling good about this Mets team, where they are. It kind of feels like a new season's beginning on Friday in a way, you know? Like, it kind of feels like the first day of the rest of the season. Like we said last episode, it's the first day we're allowed to schedule to standings watch. We're up a half game on the Phillies. It's go time on that. We got good news on Francisco Alvarez, passed concussion test. We still have the inkling of good news on Juan Soto. Not going to go on the injured list. They said, expecting to play Friday. And Cedric Mullins is a piece that this team needed. We've been talking all year about the hole in center field. The White Sox were unwilling to move off their asking prices on Luis Robert for anybody, because he's still on the White Sox after the trade deadline. Kind of one of the more surprising outcomes that came out of the trade deadline. But I'm happy with what David Stearns did. I think if you look across the whole league, we were one of the 4 or 5 teams that did the best coming out of this trade deadline in terms of not giving up premier assets and improving our team for this year a lot. I think all of it, we should feel very good heading into this now playoff August-September push, Mets fans.
And I really do. And I won't say that the Mets had the perfect deadline because I don't think that's really possible with what happened. And there was obviously better players that we would have preferred or different guys in different spots. But I think the conversation around Cedric Mullins right now, I don't know if it's changed in the few hours since I've last checked Twitter and seen what's going on, but there was a weird amount of negativity in the Mets world about acquiring Cedric Mullins to be the center fielder of this team when I feel like we forget what the options have been recently, especially with the fact that everyone was against Luis Robert, then they were for him, then we heard the price that the White Sox wanted, which was apparently starting with Jonah Tong, which that's a click, hang up the phone, not interested. There's absolutely no shot for that. I feel like people are not giving the respect to Cedric Mullins that he deserves. I'm not going to pretend like he has the ceiling of Luis Robert. I'm not going to pretend like he's a perennial all-star by any means, but this is a guy who is a league average to above league average hitter with good defense. He is a much better option than we've had in Tyrone Taylor playing every single day. And the fact that they can platoon because it's the righty-lefty matchup, it still gets Tyrone in the lineup. You're still going to get that plus defense 1, maybe 2 times a week.
Yeah, and again, at the end of the day, like they just needed an upgrade here. And I think a big part of this also working against Cedric Mullins in the public light is that there's a big cavern in the way he's viewed on Baseball Reference versus Fangraphs and Baseball Savant, where his DRS for some reason is negative, where his OAA is very positive. He's an 83rd percentile of all center fielders in the league, so I think that's something that's working against him. But also, it's kind of an eye test thing with Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins is clearly a good defender. I have the privilege, I don't know if that's actually the right word, of watching so many Baltimore Orioles games, covering them for NBC Sports on a regular basis. And Cedric Mullins is just one of those guys that he's a great addition to a team like this because Cedric Mullins kind of plays with his head on fire. He's aggressive, both defensively and offensively, takes extra bases, he steals. Like he's one of those guys that pushes the envelope. And this is a lot of the bullshit that we don't talk about in this podcast a lot, but I think he adds an element to this Mets lineup and roster that they didn't exactly really have. Like he's just a little spark plug. And like there's a funny Chris Davis thing going on with Cedric Mullins for the last 3 seasons. He has a 305 on base percentage.
Whoa.
Yeah. Again, this year's not over, but that's where he is. And he's going to kind of oscillate between a little bit worse than league average, a little bit better than league average at the bat. He was really good in April, horrible through May and June, and now he's been really good again in July. So that kind of also comes to the territory of a guy like Cedric Mullins. Streakiness, that could be good, that could be bad. It's not great hitting peripherals. I'm not going to lie and tell you guys this, but there's homers, there's stolen bases, and again, there's aggressiveness, there's sparkiness, and there is a good defensive player.
Yeah, the Mets are a better team with Cedric Mullins on the roster than they were if we just kept going with Tyrone Taylor and Jeff McNeil in center field. And I think another interesting wrinkle to what's going on with this team, too, because with Cedric Mullins in center field being a lefty like that, you wonder about what Jeff McNeil's playing time is going to be. Does he play majority second base? We obviously didn't move on from anybody of Acuna, Mauricio, Beatty, Vientos. None of those guys have been moved on from, which I think is okay, too. I know I was very vocal in wanting to trade Vientos for Luis Robert, but Vientos being here is not something I'm disappointed in, especially knowing what the return that the White Sox wanted for a guy like Robert. That sucks from the outside standpoint, but nobody got him. So it's not like the Mets missed out on an opportunity, especially with the crazy high asking price. But Cedric Mullins playing center field. We know Juan Soto's got that kind of tender foot right now based on that foul ball. You can DH Soto, especially because we know Jesse Winker's not particularly coming back anytime soon, it seems like maybe this season. McNeil can play a little bit of right field. There's still a way that this team can get creative with the lineup, and it really is so much deeper having Cedric Mullins hit 9th or 7th. That kind of feels like the spots where you can slot him into this order, and either one of those I feel a lot better than Tyrone Taylor getting all these at-bats. Again, not really trying to shit on Tyrone too much here, but for the last 2 months, he's had like a 5 WRC+. Pretty much anything else at the plate's going to be better than that.
I mean, it was the same nexus as what we were talking about with why we wanted to acquire Luis Robert, because it was improving the center field option. And then Tyrone Taylor can now push himself back on the roster and level of importance and become like the Travis Jankowski, the Luis Acuna, who I'm assuming Acuna is the one who goes down to make room on the 26-man for Cedric Mullins. We still need to have some 40-man moves that will be made, so I'm sure we'll get that flurry of notifications around 6 o'clock on Friday, right before the game actually starts. But it's just everyone getting pushed down a rung is good. And then because we also got news on Thursday that Jesse Winker is not recovering as expected. His back has not responded to treatment. He was transferred to the 60-day IL, actually, to make room on the 40-man roster. I believe that was for Tyler Rogers. So we're probably playing the rest of the regular season without Jesse Winker. I think he's actually eligible to come off the IL September 9th. And the way that David Stern spoke about it seems like that was an optimistic view of what Jesse Winker could do. So again, now with Cedric Mullins playing center, you put Jeff McNeil back at second. Then there's a combination of Brett Beatty and Ronnie Mauricio at third. Or the other option is that Jeff McNeil suddenly goes to right field, Juan Soto can DH, and then you can still keep Beatty and Mauricio both on the infield against right-handed pitching. I don't think that you have multiple good options there. I think that in the wake of losing Jesse Winker, because not really losing, we've played basically the entire season without him.
Yeah,
like it makes sense to use that. I don't know if Carlos Mendoza is going to do this, but against right-handed pitching, I think it makes sense to use that utility spot to keep the utility, geez, fancy baseball brain. To use that DH spot to keep Jeff McNeil, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty, and Cedric Mullins in the lineup, get max defense, and then be able to DH Juan Soto. And then against lefties, that's when you use Mark Vientos. I wonder how they're actually going to approach that, though.
I know we joked on the stream. You were like, can Jeff McNeil play right? I'm like, well, Juan Soto can't really play right. So, I mean, I think anybody can play that position. The difference is that Juan Soto's a elite hitter. You don't see many like him in the sport. But defensively, he's been absolutely putrid in right field. He has one of the lowest AAs in baseball. But we don't care. That's not a worry for us with Juan Soto because he hits. Jeff McNeil being in right field and Soto being a DH might honestly even be an even bigger net positive than it already was for this team.
Totally. And even quickly, as we're still talking about this, just to talk about who the Mets gave up to get Cedric Mullins, because again, just like the rest of the Mets deadline, it was kind of a pile of nothing. There were some good prospects. There were some guys with some fun tools and some fun potential, but it was Anthony Nunez, who I'm also taking this quote from Anthony DeComo because he said how much of a credit this was to what Mets player development has become. Anthony Nunez was a 22-year-old busted prospect when the Mets signed him. Then when also Ramon Gomez, who was a favorite of the early prospect reports this season on the channel because he threw a 105-mile-an-hour fastball. That's awesome. The Mets signed him as an international free agent at 19 years old, that's like the Adley Rutschman of international free agents. Like that's as old as you can sign an international free agent. And then the last one, Chandler Marsh, who was an undrafted free agent in 2024. So the Mets were able to turn those three guys into a functional major leaguer at a premium position in the middle of a playoff race. That says a lot about what they did. Again, the Orioles getting Welton Arcena and Ramon Gomez from us, two of the features of our prospect reports early in the season. Good on them for dumping a couple rentals and turning it into some low A arms, teenage arms that could get up to the upper 90s. Ramon way over 100. But this is what you do when you're a competitive team and you're at the trade deadline. You trade these kind of, for lack of a better term, pop-up prospects, and you put players in the big league team right now.
Do you have the best VPN in the game? Are you saving enough on your VPN? You got to check out surfshark.com/Val or use the code FOUL at checkout on the site to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. There's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee at surfshark.com/Val. Kratz, if you're on the go a lot, you got to check out Surfshark.
It's a no-brainer. I'm at the beach, so I should know something about a surf shark. Just saying. Get it done. 30 days.
That's right. Secure your digital life with Surfshark VPN. You can hit the link below for 4 extra months of Surfshark, either on the podcast page or on the YouTube channel. Don't let online threats catch you off guard. This has been your tech update. You want to keep your data safe and make sure you check out Surfshark today. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can secure your digital world right now.
Yeah, those were 3 guys that, for lack of a better term, nobody else wanted. The Mets took them, developed them, and were able to turn them into Cedric Mullins, who's going to be a player that should be helping this team hopefully reach their ultimate goal of not just making the playoffs, but being competitive, winning a World Series. And I do think Cedric Mullins, again, makes this team significantly better than they were yesterday just because of that bat alone. That bat alone, being league average to above league average, is such a massive, massive improvement of what we've had in center field this year.
And just for the people that are out on Cedric Mullins, people that are frustrated about the acquisition of Cedric Mullins, I want to implore you to watch him play a couple of games of baseball, because Cedric Mullins just is one of those guys that, and I think they called him Cedric the Entertainer sometimes in Baltimore. Like he's a fun dude. Like he plays the game the right way, plays it hard. Like he's all over the field. Like you'll see him make head first slides into home plate. Like he feels like
a guy that will be a Met fan favorite, actually, because of 100%. How he plays the game.
Easily. I was talking to some people in a group chat today, some are Yankee fans, and my buddy Dan goes, I'm mad you guys got Cedric Mullins. Like, I love watching that guy play.
Player.
Like, as an objective baseball fan, he's like, that guy just does a lot of the things that you want to do. And, like, the Mets kind of didn't have that pestiness on this roster, really.
I think a lot of people feel that way about Tyrone, because you watch him play, and he does play so hard, and he plays great defense, and he'll lay out, and he gets dirty, and he slides. But he doesn't have the production numbers, where Mullins is going to do a lot of those similar things and also be productive for this team offensively too, which I think is it's so valuable. As crazy as it sounds like, the biggest problem with this team still to this day has been the fact that they're not able to generate runs. The offense has been stale. It's crazy with the pitching that we've had, and before all these trades, the bullpen that we had, to say that, but it is the truth. So for them going out and addressing the offense, I really do like that. And just overall overarching theme of what the trade deadline was for the Mets, I think David Stearns did an excellent job.
Excellent job. David Stearns did what an executive is supposed to do. Like, he put this roster in position to do everything they have to. Like, basically, what the rest of this Mets season comes down to, it's 2 things. The one thing is that the best hitters have to hit the best.
Yeah, wake up. Lindor and Pete Alonso cannot go through this absolute slump that they've been going in through for a month plus now.
No, those guys have to become the players that they were early in the season, that they have been their whole careers, ASAP. And then same with Nimmo has to stick with it. Soto has to stick with it. Then keep getting production from McNeil and Mullins now. And then again, a few of the young guys just have to be great. And when I say great, I mean like 12% better than league average at the plate and play decent defense, besides Mark Vientos, who just has to match lefties, or Francisco Alvarez, who just has to be like a decent version of himself.
Like catcher.
Any combination of those things happening, and suddenly like this is now one of the deeper groups of position players in the entire National League, which is what we knew the potential for it could be when we entered the regular season. Now, with the acquisition of Cedric Mullins, seeing development of Beatty and Mauricio, it feels like that. Flip side, leaving this trade deadline without a starting pitcher, I do think leaves us a bit susceptible. And I think that the best case scenario for what the starting rotation looks like in a month is that Manaea turns the corner, Senga turns the corner, Peterson stays what he is. We have those 3 guys, and that's the best case scenario of all 3 of those guys. Even like the step below the best case scenario of all 3 of those guys is, I think, actually a legitimate playoff 3, truthfully.
Yes.
I've said that before, I'll say it again. But it's precarious right now. Manaea throws 88 miles an hour after he gets 70 pitches. Senga can't spot his fastball. Peterson just keeps chugging along. And then behind them, you have Clay Holmes, who just showed up on Wednesday out of gas. Not exactly the fault of his own, but he was flat from the first pitch. And then Frankie Fastballs, who,
like Lance Lynn, sometimes he's okay, sometimes he gets shit on.
Get some good, get some bad. But I wanted to talk about these guys specifically because after the trade deadline, there was some idea that was going around Mets Twitter, spurned mostly by Andy Martino and Steve Gelbs, that, now that the Mets didn't trade for a starting pitcher, this really opens the door for the young guys, Nolan McLean and Brandon Sproat, to get a shot at some point at the end of the season. And while that I feel like does logically make sense, we're going to do what everyone loves doing, what we love doing so much in this podcast, some roster construction talk.
Oh, yeah.
As of right now, unless there's a major injury, there's almost no way that we can see those guys pitch. And kind of the same way we saw David Stearns be coy about Drew Gilbert getting a shot towards the end of the season when he's probably going to make his major league debut against the Mets this weekend. There's a good chance of that. While this was mentioned, like it's hard to see how that's even possible given the 5-man rotation we have and the newly revamped bullpen of no pitchers with any options at all.
I'm sorry for the face. I just saw the Phillies got Matt Manning from the Tigers.
Oh, he was DFA'd.
Yeah, they've acquired him in exchange for some random outfielder. Not really important to what we were talking about, but yeah, I think we are going to see them at the major league level at some point. But similarly to how we didn't like what the Mets did a couple years ago, where it was like Alvarez, Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, they were deemed as like these saving bodies and figures that were going to come up and magically make this team better than they already were. I don't like how we're doing that with Sproat and McLean. Now, I think specifically McLean should be up sooner than later. I do think that whenever the next shot that's given to the rotation, I think it should be him. I know we still have Paul Blackburn on this roster. He was not moved. He's still on this team, and he has been rehabbing. I'm afraid he's going to be given one more shot because I don't think he's got anything left in the tank, and I do think the Mets were trying every possible which way to not have Paul Blackburn on this team moving forward. I hope it's McLean because I do think from what we've seen in AAA, he looks like he's at least closer to ready than he's ever been. I think Sproat's a little bit behind him, but at the same time, I don't know if because the Mets didn't trade for pitching that this means that these guys are here now and they're ready to be a part of this World Series push in 2025.
No, I actually have bad news for you because Paul Blackburn is going to get the roster spot. I think the second he's healthy, which should be in a week or so, and that's probably going to come at the expense of Rico Garcia. Rico Garcia is the only guy.
Chris Davinsky, maybe.
Davinsky was cut already.
But he's back, I thought.
We brought in 2 relievers.
We'd
already sent down Brazoban for Davinsky. So yeah, Davinsky was just recut. Maybe he was actually just sent down now, but I know as of right now, Davinsky's not on this roster. Davinsky is with AAA, or maybe he's cut. I'm just gonna look at roster resources.
He's in AAA. He's in AAA.
Okay, it's 1:40 in the morning. But Edwin, Helsley, Rogers, Stanek, Raley, Garrett, Soto, right there.
Yeah,
that's a full bullpen. Rico Garcia, it would be the odd man out. He's also out of options. We've already cut him once. I'm sure we're going to cut him again. And also, I think that there will be an emphasis on saving some innings from Clay Holmes. A lot of people are still like, Clay Holmes to the bullpen, Clay Holmes to the bullpen. If Clay Holmes goes to the bullpen, you still have to cut one of those guys to get a spot in the bullpen. And then now Paul Blackburn is the starter. Now Paul Blackburn is Clay Holmes. I'd rather the opposite. I'd rather Paul Blackburn only have to go 2 or 3 innings because then after we do some Paul Blackburn, you know who else is going to come up and pitch for this team probably before McLean or Sproat?
Siler.
Tyler McGill has thrown a couple bullpen sessions, and he's on the doorstep of rehab assignment himself. So just like last year, the White Knight Tyler McGill will show up towards the end of August and just do what he can for a month, and maybe once again he will pitch huge innings for us and get us the spot we need to go. But I do think that there should be some pumping of the brakes because again, there was a great start by Brandon Sproat on Wednesday night in AAA, Thursday night in AAA. Another 9 strikeouts, 5 innings, no runs. He's actually almost gotten the AAA ERA back down under 4, which is incredible considering where the season began. But similarly to what was going on last month, there were no curveballs in that start. It was all sweepers, sliders, and a couple of well-placed changeups. So I do still think that there are some significant hurdles to climb. And while McLean has been great at AAA overall, the strikeouts have dried up a bit of late. There's been a couple starts where the walks have been an issue. He still has had some of the pop games, but I think that these are still 2 guys who have a little bit more development to go before we're sure that they can be like actually really good starters at the next level. They both kind of have mid fastballs. They both rely on a sweeper as their secondary pitch. McLean's sinker is great, but it's so Sproat's. But I think that they're both at risk of just their fastballs getting popped. They're both at risk of struggling against lefties at this level still. And I think that David Stearns knows that. That's why we haven't seen them yet.
Kratz, if I'm new to card collecting and I'm looking for the safest, most trusted way in the game to acquire cards or to buy a card, but not go through a ton of work where I'm going to the shows, I'm going online doing auctions. I want it all in one place. I'm going to
Arena Club. It's all in one place. You know you're getting a good price, whether you're buying it or you're selling cards. If you're new to it, you don't want all the other crappy cards. You can get the ones that you want. You can start your collection. And if you get them on Arena Club, your collection will look boss.
That's right. And may I mention, they also have Pokemon cards in those slab packs that we talk about every week. You can rip a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars, because every pack has grails that are at least 20x the price of the pack. So get involved at arenaclub.com/foul. Use the code foul to get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase.
I mean, I think you're saying it perfectly. Like this, there's a reason, again, that we still haven't seen them. Even like this is the same rotation that it was before the trade deadline. So I don't know why the Mets not trading for pitchers means that these guys all of a sudden are so very important, or more important than they were before the trade deadline.
No, the only thing that is weird is that Martino would say that so contritely. So that's
he's also he's such a fucking little moody bitch sometimes. Like, I don't know what his deal is.
Totally, but he still is in the know. Like, he still is involved in a lot of these conversations. Did he delete
like
the
Brandon
tweet?
Lau. Remember Brandon Lau? Did he delete the tweet?
I don't see the tweet anymore.
He definitely tweeted.
Oh wait, he's been retweeting some things. Here it is. With the Mets not trading for a starting pitcher, expect the lights of Nolan McLean to be in line for opportunities this year. So again, in line for opportunities does make sense, because I guess he's like right now SP7 kind of SP7,
sure.
SP8, SP6ish, but like until one of the other guys are healthy. If something happens, the way that this bullpen is aligned, there is one cut in it, and it's Rico Garcia. You can get rid of Rico Garcia and call somebody up. I don't think they're cutting Ryan Stanek, especially after he's had finally a few good appearances in a row. They're not going to cut Soto. They're not going to send down Reed Garrett. We're not sending down Kodai Senga. Garrett and Kodai Senga are the only pitchers right now in this active roster with minor league options. So I do think that I think pitchers get hurt all the time. So again, there probably will be an injury at some point, but that's the only way we actually see one of these guys debut in the near future.
Now, I don't want to get it twisted. We would love to see these guys debut this year.
Totally. I think it'd be fun to see them not in a full starters role, work down a little bit. I think that would be great. Now the bullpen is good, but I think that just there's a lot of opportunities for piggybacking with both right now Sean Manaea and Clay Holmes, considering where those guys are at right now, where their workload is and where their stuff's at. So I think that it's also funny. There's like kind of a reverse arm angle thing going on where Manaea and McLean are very sidearmy guys, while Sproat is kind of in the middle, and then Clay Holmes is very over the top. So you match up Sproat with Manaea, and you match up McLean and Holmes. Now you got some real arm angle stuff going on. It's kind of like the sixth grade dance. You get matched up with someone who's just because they're also out there and need a partner.
You probably get 7 innings out of those two guys, and then when you get to the 7th inning, you got Tyler Rogers, Ryan Helsley, and Edwin Diaz now to close out these games. Even throwing Reed Garrett into that conversation, Gregory Soto. All of a sudden, like, things don't feel as bad that your starters can't go deep into the game when you have a bullpen that can get 9 outs in a game pretty easily.
For sure, which is why I actually was surprised by the Helsley trade just from this roster construction standpoint. Because I thought that David Stearns would want one kind of malleable spot in this bullpen. Because now there's no malleability. We love malleability. There's this. We've had malleability the entire David Stearns era. So I'm curious.
But we've also loved malleability because the Mets didn't have these arms. Now that we got these arms,
100%. That's why I was so shocked and so elated by that Ryan Helsley trade, because it was very un-David Stearns like, which is cool. Again, which is cool that he was able to make that decision. So again, I don't want to hear any belly aching about David Stearns anymore after this. This was aggressive. Yeah. This was great. He didn't pay much to get them. There were some takes going on. I want to get your opinion on this. Because some of the relievers wound up going for a little bit less, especially the ones that went specifically to the New York Yankees, who gave up one pile of dirt, one pile of shit, and one pile of crap to completely redefine their bullpen on Thursday afternoon. So there was some conversation about that. Maybe being a little too early on the market, but I don't know. Also got guys that were less consistent, so it's a weird situation.
Yeah, I was shocked at how little the Yankees gave up for everybody in every single trade. I mean, Ryan McMahon, you can't blame the Yankees for taking advantage of like the stupid kid in the class. Like, I mean, they did it
3 times.
Yeah, they did it 3 times. They did it to the Rockies twice. They did it to the Pirates. They were like, oh, Ryan McMahon, here's 2 pitchers. The Rockies were like, oh, pitching prospects. They're going to suck. It doesn't matter how good they are. They're going to have horrible major league careers as long as they're with the Colorado Rockies. And then they got Jake Bird. And you look at who they traded. Like Rock Reggio, I know, is like probably the best prospect that they traded this time. But also, who cares? Because Jake Bird has like 5 years of control and is a really good reliever, and he's getting the fuck out of Coors. Amazing. Then they trade for Dave Bednar, your boy, friend of the channel. Boy. And they gave up literally a pile of shit. The bootlicking that Jeff Passan did on ESPN about that trade is disturbing. Rafael Flores is a 24-year-old catcher in Double-A who is regarded for his framing, which is going to be obsolete in the next CBA, and he can't hit for shit.
I want to read the actual tweet out. So, among the return to the Pirates in the Bednar deal, per ESPN sources, catcher Rafael Flores, who tore up AA, is now a AAA, is a top shelf framer and regarded as a big league ready catcher. A very good centerpiece. Also in it, Edgelin Perez, who is 19 with excellent swing decisions. Edgelin Perez, who's 19 with excellent swing decisions, has, I think it's a 91 WRC plus and a 236 slugging in low A. Again, he looks like he has some good defensive qualities, and Rafael Flores was someone who's turning 25 in 2 months, who was tearing up AA. Baseball America was not as kind to Flores, saying that he would need to make some swing adjustments and just some adjustments to the plate in general to hopefully become a second division catcher. So again, very different opinions of the people who get paid to, for decades here to guard prospects versus Jeff Passan, who seems to be just making the Yankees look not so bad for this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, actually, opposite, because they should look great. Brian Cashman did incredible.
Oh, he did a phenomenal job. They arguably had one of the best trade deadlines of the entire thing. That bullpen's the best bullpen in baseball. It's not even a question anymore.
Second best bullpen in baseball.
Behind us?
Behind the San Diego Padres.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about them. Mason Miller.
Best bullpen in the American League, for sure.
Best bullpen in the American League.
No doubt. Nailed that one. Best bullpen in the American League.
Yeah, I can get behind people being like, damn, like they gave up nothing and they got maybe better arms than what we got.
I don't know if the arms are better, because I think that's kind of part of it, because those arms are more controllable.
Flashy.
They're much flashier, but they've also been more volatile over the last few years. Like David Bednar, while it was complete poppycock, he did spend time in the minor leagues this season.
Yeah.
After a year last year, he had a 5 ERA, but then they figured out that he was actually just tipping his pitches. Now he's all good. And he's been one of the best relievers in baseball, as he was 2 years before this whole season since he came back. Camille Duvall's been taken out of the closer role in San Francisco like twice in the last 2 years, because sometimes his command just totally evades him. But
for
also
Tyler Rogers.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And Ryan Walker, like a couple of very different guys, where Walker and Helsley have been more like models of consistency over the last few years. I think the Mets did pay more for that consistency, where the Yankees were like, give us the demons.
Yes.
Which I like the reliever demons.
I like what we did. We don't need.
I do too.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Is that the saying?
Yeah, again, we're so fine. I just think that the Mets and the Yankees are two of the 5 or so teams that did the best this trade deadline.
Yeah, because then you could have been a Cubs fan or a Red Sox fan and be like,
Cubs fans,
we did fucking nothing, huh?
You could have been a Pirates fan today. You're trying to figure out where Ben Cherington lives so you can take his house. The Pirates left the trade deadline with Tommy Pham on their roster. They're like the first team in 5 years to do that. It's impossible.
How you doing, Instagram? It's big time Tommy. Don't count the Pirates out.
I think after people saw that Bednar trade, I'm sure that like 17, 18 general managers tried to call Charrington and be like, what's going on with O'Neal Cruz, huh? We have a great washing machine in the facility. I know you'd love to have it. But like the Tigers also just got a bunch of like middle relievers, even though they have a whole bullpen of middle relievers, got no impact, leverage arms, and Charlie Morton. No. Again, the Cubs just fell apart. I think Matt Arnold might have goosed the Cubs a little bit, because all of a sudden at 5:50, between 5:50 and 6:30, every single Brewers trade came across the ledger. So I think that they might have been waiting to be like, are they going to do anything? Are they going to do anything? Are we going to catch Jet sleeping? It's embarrassing that a team like the Cubs cries poor when they're one of the wealthiest organizations in the sport.
What year do you think Craig Breslow thinks it is? Because his big pieces that he got were Steven Matz and Dustin May, who haven't been good in ever.
And they traded the centerpiece of the Rafael Devers trade to get Dustin to get 2 months of a bad starting pitcher in Dustin May.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Dustin May has like no innings left either.
No,
like he's on a strict innings limit. I think that was maybe they see something where he can be a really good bullpen, but it's just kind of like, oof, I don't know, that was rough. And then also, I don't know if there's any of you guys listening to this. Maybe a few of you, if you're a Minnesota Twins fan, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You just watched a competitive window slam shut so fast you probably don't even know your name anymore. They traded like 40% of their active roster.
Yeah, I think when we were going through the stream, and that was before every single trade came through. Oh, it's updated right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 pitchers on the active roster, 2 catchers. That brings them to 10, 4 infielders, 14. They have 17 players on their active roster. You can have 26 guys. And some of those active players are Deshaun Kersey, Mickey Gasper. That's a guy that's on the roster. Christian Vasquez is still on this team. The sleeper cell, Michael Tonkin, Cody Funderburk.
He's still in the league, Tonkin?
Yeah, I mean, the Braves couldn't use him this year, I guess, but he's out in Minnesota because they don't really have any major leaguers. That's they're quickly becoming a pretty joke of a franchise right now.
And then also the Padres, who traded 7 of their top 13 ranked prospects for MLB Pipeline, as AJ Preller is not under contract next year.
Yeah, and in a farm system that had one prospect, pretty much.
Not 3, 2.5 at least.
Cash Mayfield's decent. I actually do like Cash Mayfield, but
the guy Braden Net they also sent to the A's as part of the Mason Miller trade is awesome. He has tons of good, he has tons of nasty stuff.
So they've kept one of their guys, and that's basically Cash Mayfield, because it seems like nobody values Ethan Salas anymore. So
well, no, of course that guy was one of the biggest. I don't know, house of cards in prospect history. I can remember the last couple of years, but it was a crazy deadline, and it's wild to say that because there weren't really any super high profile players that changed teams except for Carlos Correa, who was traded just like for money.
Almost all the big names didn't get traded actually this deadline.
Oh, and also just a weird rumor. I'm sorry if you're still paying attention to Mike Deportes' Twitter in the Lord's year 2025, where people thought Adolis Garcia was a Met for like an hour.
That was crazy.
We were getting tons of questions about it. I was like, of course this is a lie. There's no reason
why would that
happen.
make any sense from both sides? Why would the Rangers, who are playing well, trade Adolis, and why would the Mets bring in Adolis Garcia unless Juan Soto's dead? Like, that doesn't really make any sense.
The Rangers did sneaky well too to get Merrill Kelly, Danny Coulomb, and they got another reliever. Who was the other reliever they got? And Phil Maton. We fuck him up Philly, but yeah,
Philly baseball.
So that's that they did something good there. It was a fun trade deadline while not being like poppy and sexy like some of them have been in the past. It was a very fun deadline.
That's all I got, James. That's all you got?
Oh, yeah, we got one more thing, though.
Frankie Peppers. Dude, Frankie Peppers has got such aura. He came onto the stream on playback. I tweeted out Frankie Peppers gained like 30 viewers in seconds. Frankie Peppers has got serious motion twin.
Major serious motion twin. But here we go. To end the trade deadline, a quick message from Frankie Peppers.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers. How you doing? Thank you for having me on your video earlier, Mark and James. It was really nice to talk to you boys. I don't feel like I've really ever been able to do that, so I really do appreciate it. I'm really happy with this trade deadline. We have maybe the best bullpen in baseball. We went from one of the least impressive to one of the most impressive without really giving anything up. It's really nice to see. And we got Cedric Mullins. Come on. It's all going well. I'm quite happy with it. I hope you boys are happy with it too. And I can't wait for this team to go to the World Series. I swear we're going, boys. I know it. So I hope you take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's go, Mets.
For all the people at the end of this podcast, Frankie Peppers gave us a line, trust the sauce. He drew us a picture, and we're thinking about just putting that picture as the merch. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. How interested are you? I want to know in the comment section.
I'll throw the picture up in here and the other too, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's Frankie Peppers. The guy doesn't miss. But that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this episode of the Mets'd podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel so you can see the video version of this. And if you are listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Schiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We will catch you all after the Giants series. Let's go Mets.
Peace out, guys. Go Mets.